Brother, if you give me your time today, I'll prove to you that enjoying yourself in your 20s is complete BS, complete bullshit if you give me your time. And so if you stay with me, you get to realize that there has never been anybody that has said, I wished I drank more alcohol in my 20s. I wished I partied more in my 20s. I wish I had more degenerate friends in my 20s. Instead, it's always the opposite. I wish I didn't drink alcohol. I wished I never smoked. I wished I had friends that guided me, right? I know this for a fact because I hung around people who are older than me and who have spelled out their regrets to me. So it's easier to take this thing serious when you have seen people who are regretting that those their actions of their 20s. Right? And if you really dig it, these actions mostly come from two places. One, people who have something destructive to sell to you, right? It could be drugs, porn, influencers who tell you things like, oh, you live only once. Live your life like there's no tomorrow. Brother, what happens if there's a tomorrow? That's something you should think about. What happens if there's a tomorrow? Or people who are also in their 20s who have no direction. So one, and I know this for a fact because something happened that I have a story that I think happened to me in my first year in university during the holidays. So during my holidays in university, sorry, my first year in university, me and my high school friends, we decided to link up together so we can all go to the club together. This is our first year in university, right? We're all enjoying our lives. So something happened was I woke up the next day with vomit on the bed right beside me, vomit close to the bed where I was, and vomit and blood close to the door, covered in sand. And all the friends that literally went out together with, I only had two that were with me at that point. At that point, I kind of realized that God had given me another chance. When I say God now, don't this is not a way of me preaching, but I got to realize that God had given me another chance because at that age, I was aware of stories of people dying that way, drinking alcohol and just going to their early grave like that. I also came to realize that the guys who I went out with, because I had to like sit down and wait for clarity, try to remember at what point did things go wrong the nights before. Now, I had a few bits of memories here and there. I had the memory of the fact that there was a fight that broke out because of I did something stupid. And this my quote unquote friends, they were at the corner laughing at me. The people who saved me were the club bouncers, were the ones who actually protected me. At that moment, I kind of realized that the friends you keep are very, 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 very important. Up until this day, it's only one of them from that event I speak to. And he's the one who was with me in that room. But that's how bad shit is. So I know this for a fact that people who tell you to enjoy your life are mostly people who have no direction in life. I'm for real, right? So speaking of that the first reason is you're probably trying to escape reality, and the reality is that you have no direction. You see, it's like you've been pampered all of your life as a teenager. Now you're in your 20s. That pampering has to stop. And by the time you realize that, oh shit, life is becoming harsh on you as a man, you begin to want to escape that reality. You and your friends. You begin to want to say, you know what? Don't worry, we can postpone growing up. Let's enjoy life till we can. But here's the harsh truth. They never tell you that your 20s are your actual foundation for your 30s. You see, because there's somebody who passed, somebody who was close to me passed, right? And then his story is very tragic. And I feel like everybody has to learn from this story. So this is somebody who followed this idea of enjoying in your 20s. He had maximum fun throughout his 20s. But guess what? The year he turned 30 was the year he passed. Now, hear me very well. He passed, and then a few weeks after, his daughter was born. A couple of notes came out about this guy that he wrote that he's approaching his 30s. He has no skill, right? He's been provided for by his father all through his life, but his father passed the year before. But now that he's expecting a child, he doesn't know how he will take care of that child. And that's how it is for most young men out there. Most you and your friends, most especially you and your friends out there, where you feel like you're too afraid to grow up. Life is going to be harsh on you. So guess what? You bury your head in sand. And the crazy thing is that there are stories that come out every single day of people that are dying based on these habits. But guess what? It's not your business because you and your friends are all in it together. There are stories of people who are begging because in his note, right? I mean, he's turned 30. In his note, why this story sticks to me is because it made me realize the power of putting your head down and stop and avoiding bullshit in your life. Is he had a note on his phone that says, because the note was to God because he was going through family counseling and all that. I mean, he's expecting his first child. In his note, he says if he can scale through that year, he will stop all of his bad habits. But the irony is that the chains of bad habits, they are very easy. But guess what? In the future, they are difficult to break. That's why I tell people that there's absolutely no reason for you to get yourself into any habit you already know is addicting. But here in his note, he told himself, God, if I can scale through this year and my child is born, that his child could have been the reason for him to stop. But guess what? It was too late. He took a substance at the wrong day, and that's how he passed. Heart failure. I'm basically saying this because it's not really about the story of him passing, it's about the story of the fact that he was approaching, he just turned 30 and approaching seeing his daughter about to be born. To him, he's like, what the fuck? I really don't have any solid backing for myself. Again, simply because of distractions. You see, there's a particular text I saw in Marcus Aurelius's book, The Meditations, where he said, the sins you commit while you're angry are not as dangerous as the sins you commit when you're happy. Because when you're angry, it's a short burst of emotion. You'll be back to your feet, you'll be back to normal. But when you're happy committing a sin, that sin snowballs, it compounds into what? Into a disaster. You see, there's another quote I'll leave you with right here. It says that, I think I got it from Chris Williams. He says, there's no straight way to live your life, but hear carefully. You either live your life up in your 20s and become an underskilled 30-year-old, right? Or put your head down in your 20s and become an over-accomplished 30 years old. Now, which would you rather be? Like I've said, everything boils down to the fact that you're trying to escape reality, basically. But instead, what should you do? Face reality. You have to realize that distracting yourself does not make the pain go away. Distracting yourself does not make the problems go away. Second thing again, that your 20s being your foundation for your 30s is you're supposed to establish proper habits. I think I should do another video on how to live your 20s because there's a way to live your 20s to reduce your regrets, right? To reduce your regrets and basically prepare yourself for your 30s. And another reason you see yourself having that idea in your head of enjoying your 20s is because you are afraid of missing out. Your friends have told you you shouldn't miss out of life in your 20s. Bro, one thing I'll tell you for sure is there is no single soul that will tell you you missed out if you didn't do drugs. There is not a single soul that will tell you that. What does that tell you? These ideas, again, come from people who are misleading themselves already. And guess what? It's easier to want to mislead you because it gratifies their own ego. So you know what? If I smoke and you smoke, it means that we are both on the right track. And then, again, your 20s, you have to realize that the habits you build in your 20s, they kind of compound into your 30s because people have this idea that I will play in my 20s and then in my 30s, I'll magically say, you know what, I'm done. Let me take my life serious. It doesn't really work that way. Irony is women do that shit a lot where they play in their early 20s and get serious and settle down in their late 20s or their early 30s. Right? But life for men doesn't happen that way. Right? For men, it's either you have it or you don't. You see, so as a man, in your 20s, you have what is called time and energy. You most likely don't have money, right? You most likely don't have money. Because nature told you that, nature built it in a way that as a man, that you take all that excess time that you have and all that energy and use it to build a foundation for yourself. So the two major foundations for your early 20s are your health and your finances. Now, you may not have to be rich in your 20s, but at least stop doing dumb shit with money. The more you invest in yourself in your 20s, how do you invest in yourself? Read books, right? For your health wise, again, one harsh truth about being in your 20s is that this is the healthiest you would ever be. For most people, their 20s is their healthiest they would ever be. But guess what? With good habits like working out, eating right, you can stretch your peak health to your 30s. But most guys never do that. They never do that. So when you realize that your 20s are supposed to be a fucking foundation to your 30s, because I feel like I should make a separate video on the things that you should watch out for in your 20s. But until now, I'm basically talking about the fact that that idea of enjoying your 20s is complete BS. Because I know guys in their 20s, right, who have kept their health in check, and guys in their 20s who did not keep their health in check. The lives are obvious. The lives are obvious. And I have guys in their late 20s who are now beginning to learn skills. And what I keep hearing from them is they wished they started earlier. So in your 20s, you have time. You have time to experiment. You have time to take risks, because this idea that in your 20s you're supposed to have had everything figured out is complete BS. Yes, it's difficult, but you have to face that reality of it being difficult. In your 20s, you have to build skills, social skills, money skills, business skills, practical psychology. Because here's the harsh truth. In your 30s, think about it, right? In your 30s, it is very difficult to navigate your 30s if you distracted yourself in your 20s. So what's the point? I want you to end up like that guy because now why I don't talk about that guy because if you watch my past videos, I talk about him a lot. It's somebody who was close to me, and I just feel like his story is a story that I should not really be excited to tell. But I'm only saying that because it ties into reality that most men in their 30s face. So in summary, I would say in your 20s, you only have two goals in your 20s, right? One, be a man on a mission. Be a man who takes. So being on a mission means that you have a purpose, you have goals you set for yourself. You have a mission that you are driving towards. You have a vision you are working towards. Because let's be honest, when you have nowhere you are driving towards, guess what? It's easy for you to take more drugs. It's easy for you to fall for vices. It's easy for you to distract yourself with porn. But if you fucking think about it, right? Speaking, it's crazy how we are kind of like glorifying bad habits in our generation. We are glorifying a shit ton of bad habits in our generation. We glorify porn. I mean, yes, there's a backlash towards porn. At the same time, there was a point where porn was glorified. Yeah. In my early uni days, boys were very happy to watch porn. Where drinking was glorified. And the irony is, ever since I made that choice to not live that life, I've come to realize that those shit don't really hold relevance in my head. Simply because I have been a guy with direction. Now, there's something I would say that most of the guys who I know that are beginning to take their life serious in their late 20s, something tragic has happened to them. Something tragic has happened to them. And I don't really think that has to be your story. Because you can start today, right? Start setting goals for yourself. Because it's your goals that form your habits. It's your goals that form the friends that you have. And the second thing you need to watch out for in your 20s is your tribe, is your brotherhood, is your community. Because let's be honest, we are only as good as the people around us. We are the average of the 5 people we hang around. We're the average of them, whether it's online or in person. And the question now is, what kind of people are you hanging around? And then people who are aiming towards a direction. Because if they're not aiming towards the direction, they will distract you. Remember when I said the only 2 people that will convince you to enjoy your 20s are either people that have something destructive to sell to you or people that have no direction, and again they're in their 20s. Because the guys in their 30s, right, who have to fend for themselves will most likely not look back and give you bad advice. They most likely won't do that if they like you. If they like you. And I've said this thing over and over again. That's why I say that as a guy. Let me tell you this thing maybe 1,000 times, right? One life hack is surround yourself with people who are maybe a few years older than you and have accomplished things that you want in life. Now, this is the reason. The reason is because at every stage everybody gets to in life, everyone is trying to figure out what is the next step. But if you have somebody who has figured it out a year or 2 before you, or even 3 years before you, it's a fucking life hack. It's a life hack that will forever work any day, anytime. And so this is something that your self-improvement gurus don't tell you because they don't live it. Most of them are just living what? They're living off of cheap, feel-good content. Now, a guy in his, I'm currently 28, right? I have guys in their 35, 36, right? Who are currently in marriages, who are having exciting marriages, right? And this is what the red pill won't tell you, because most of the time, the reason people get into bad marriages is for different things, different reasons. One reason is a lot of the time is distraction. And speaking of it, hold on. Now, I remember when I remember a story where somebody said, there were like 2 guys in my university. They're talking about how they were about to graduate and they don't know what is next because they now have to take their life serious. They made me realize that most men are actually afraid of growing up. Most men are afraid of growing up. And he said, he also made the point that his father had it easier than him. And in my mind, reflecting on that, I don't think the past generation had life easier for them. One, they had less distractions. That means they were forced to grow up as early as possible. The culture promoted that they grow up as early as possible. But what do we have as a culture? We have pure distractions. We have social media distraction. We have porn distraction. We have movies, entertainment. I think I made a video talking about how entertainment and vices are your greatest enemies. So in your 20s, I think I have to make a video maybe tomorrow on how the fuck you should avoid certain habits in your 20s. They will fucking wreck your life. They bring zero benefits. They only just bring misery. So, brother, the advice is that idea of you enjoying yourself in your 20s is complete BS. Put your head down, be on a mission, have long-term goals, have short-term goals, because when you have these goals, it's easier for you to not get distracted. Second thing now is, for you to stay on track, you need to be around people who are also doing the same thing, who would motivate you. Because sometimes, let's be honest, sometimes we lose motivation. Sometimes you can burn out, sometimes you can forget why you're doing your stuff. Again, that's, I don't know why, but people do forget why they're doing what they're doing. But if you have a strong brotherhood of like-minded people, it becomes easier to achieve your goals, to achieve your dreams. So, brother, I hope I'll be able to convince you that not a single soul regrets putting their head down in their 20s. Not a single soul regrets working hard in their 20s. But so many people regret the idea of excessive living in their 20s. So many people regret living large in their 20s because of, it's all a hoax, it's all distractions. So, brother, thank you very much. I wanted to share this video of the ideas resonate with you. And then by tomorrow, I think I should come up with the ideas that have basically saved me in my entire 20s, right? Now, I may not be as rich as what I expect, but I guess I'm fine. I mean, with the habits I have built for myself and the confidence it has given to me, not delusional confidence, actual confidence. And I'll be making a video on that tomorrow. So please share this video with somebody who you know you will find it helpful. Thank you very much. Talk to you soon. And bye for now, brother.